Now give him some love. Give him some love. All right. That's it. All right. Now, what's your emotional state? What's underneath that?
Mad as a motherfucker.
Okay, no. Okay, anger is the easiest thing to play. Am I right, Brent?
Too easy.
What's more complicated is to play hurt. That helps you name the thing. All right. Now try that. All right.
From the top.
There you go, Brent.
Hi, everyone. Welcome to the Rosie and Bill Show. Our guests tonight are a living testament to the power of redemption, love, forgiveness, and humanity. When they stepped out onto the stage of a New York State maximum security prison, they had no idea that their journey would later be immortalized on the silver screen. Please welcome to the Rosie and Bill Show cast members of the critically acclaimed movie Sing Sing, Brent Buell, Divine G. Whitfield, Clarence Divine I. Macklin, and Sean Dino Johnson. Hi, guys. Welcome to the show.
Hey, Rosie.
How you doing, Rosie?
Thanks for having us, Rosie.
All right.
Thank you for inviting us.
We're good. It's so great to see you guys. And for the audience, I have a personal stake in this, but we're going to get into that later. I'm going to let Bill ask the first question.
All right, thanks. I appreciate that. So, gentlemen, I figured I'd kind of start with what might sound like the most obvious question, but I think is a really important one. And that is, what initially inspired this movie that Rosie just mentioned, Sing Sing, and what were each of your roles in making all of this happen?
I think Brent got to crack that one open.
All right, I'll start that one. I volunteered as a director with a program called Rehabilitation Through the Arts, RTA, and it started in 2001. Wonderful theater program inside Sing Sing Correctional Facility. I've never had a better time in my life. I can tell you more about that. But in 2005, we had done a lot of heavy drama. And the fellas began to say, couldn't we do a comedy? And so I started looking for a comedy that had maybe roles for 25 men and 2 women. And couldn't find any. Came back in, I didn't want to disappoint people. And so out of desperation, I said, I'll write it for you. And so everybody said, great, you write a comedy for us. And I left the prison and I just broke into a sweat because I didn't want to let people down, but I had no idea how I was going to do this. The guys had made a lot of suggestions that they wanted to do maybe a cowboy comedy, and maybe a Robin Hood comedy, maybe an Egyptian comedy, maybe something about Freddy Krueger. And so the first day, I spent writing, and it was really like it was going nowhere. About 3 o'clock in the morning of the second day, it hit. Well, I can put together all the different stories that they're talking about and make a comedy out of that. It ended up being this time travel comedy called Breaking the Mummy's Code. We did it. We had a wonderful time doing it. It had 70 roles. It was a really great thing. The guys can say more about that. But there was a reporter from Esquire that came and did an article and had a lot of pictures of everybody and everything. And that was fine. 11 years later at midnight, I got an email saying, we're Greg Quidar and Clint Bentley. We'd like to speak to you about the possibility of making a movie. And my hackles went up. I was really skeptical that anybody would make an honest film, but that's how it came about. They flew in from the West Coast. We met and began to talk. And at one point they said, and we're thinking that maybe if there's some of the original people that were in the program that are available, we'd love to meet them. And I said, well, that means coming to our house for breakfast because
Yeah.
they're there all the time. So that's where they came, and that's where Greg and Clint met my dear brothers here and others too.
Brent, I remember talking to you pretty soon after you got that phone call, and you were very skeptical. And you told me that this was like 7 years in the process, and that you kind of stopped things at different times or dug your heels in, because you just mentioned about wanting to make an honest film. What do you mean by that?
I wanted it to represent truly what took place at Sing Sing. I didn't want this to be another prison movie where they get in a bunch of violence or something and make something that wasn't true. To their great credit, they really did want to tell the truth. They wanted to tell an honest story. And it took about 6.5 years to finalize a script. Divine I and Divine G came in, and then Coleman Domingo came in. And we finally shot in the summer of 22. I have to say, I'm so proud of this movie. It's honest. It's the real deal. It's about what happened.
Hey everyone, thanks so much for tuning in. We appreciate each and every one of you. And we also appreciate our first and longest running sponsor of the show, Tom and his team of insurance professionals at the Malin Agency. If world-class customer service and doing business with someone you can trust is important to you, give Tom and his team a call today for all your insurance needs.
Well, when Brent gave me the phone call and indicated, well, first of all, my name is John Divine G. Whitfield, and as you know, I'm the subject of this movie, Sing Sing. Coleman Domingo portrays me in the movie, and when Brent presented me this with the phone call, I was all in for it because for many years, as a founding member of RTA, I've always kind of, in essence, kind of just knew that this is a story that we really need to tell the world about, because the transformative power of art and the rehabilitative components was just so amazing. I mean, I was personally seeing transformations occur before my eyes that was kind of like species. And, it was like, wow, this guy is making transformations just coming into the group. And Divine Eye is a testament of that. And if you look at the movie, you'll see the transformative power of his journey. And Craig and Clinton and us and how we presented this movie, man, is just so raw, it's so accurate, so authentic that I mean, it's a blessing. It was a blessing that Clint came and Brent came and Craig came into our lives, because we are finally having a unique opportunity to show the world, man, what the power of art can do. And as you also are aware that we have a 3% recidivism level. And that's something that, the world needs to know about. And I want to thank you, Rosie and Bill, for at least giving us the opportunity to share this with a platform such as this. And like Brent said, I mean, once I interacted with Clint and Craig, I kind of saw that these guys were unique type of filmmakers. They were really and genuinely about trying to tell the story as it depicts us as human beings and as the program as a healing force. So I was like all for it. I said, yeah, we in good hands. This is really good. And they allowed us so much freedom as far as equality was concerned. They gave us the ability to write and have input in it. Me, Divine Eye, Brent, and all of us, we contributed in the whole process. In fact, I'm an executive producer on the film just as well as Divine. So they gave us the opportunities to fully, have an input in this. And as you can see from the film, it really went in deep.
Yeah. Yeah, I feel the same. I feel as though, like, from that very first time that we met at Brent's for breakfast, Clint, Greg, and Brent and I, Devon G, a few other brothers came through, and it was more of a assessment period because we spoke about many things that didn't concern the Esquire magazine, or it didn't concern the making of this movie. It concerned more about how we see the world as individuals, as human beings, and how we related on that level is what really built the bond and made it like well, these dudes generally have our best interests involved because we can detect that because of what we already discussed, because of the type of way we felt each other out. Like they wanted to fill us out, but we had to fill them out too.
Right.
Because it's been many that came and wanted to do something based on our stories. Many have come before this. However, we have to keep in mind that we stand on the shoulders of other brothers, and we have to keep the integrity of what they created intact. I know Divine G and Dino; those brothers are part of the foundation. I'm not, but I still have to keep the integrity of what they created at the forefront of anything, any future endeavor, because of we got brothers and sisters that's still locked up,
Right.
that's involved. They still locked up, bro. We out here. We can't never forget about the ones that's still locked up, that still represent the same RTA that we represent. You know what I mean? So we can't lose sight of those brothers and sisters. And I think that once we keep the integrity intact, that's the connection that we all share. We all share that. No matter what station you may find yourself in promoting what we do, but we all share the same connection via the integrity, the moral compass, the you know, the level of empathy and all those things that we promote, that we keep those things in the forefront of everything we do, is how we represent, the culture that we created in RTA. This is not just a program anymore. It's a culture. Now it's a way of life now.
Yeah.
It's a way of existing. It's a way of connecting to the rest of the universe now. It's not just a program in prison.
Right. Well, I'm curious, since you brought that up, in regards to RTA, the program, what would you say, and you probably already said it, but I'm just curious, I'll put this to you, Dino, was the most impactful thing you received or thing you learned from having been a member of RTA? And then do you feel that the film captured that?
Absolutely. Absolutely. I think, the most I took from RTA was the importance of communication and being an effective communicator. That's something you learn in RTA. It's not only just on stage, but in life. Learning how to effectively communicate with other people, learning how to use 2 words instead of 10 words. For me, at the beginning, I was an introvert. I was an introvert that wasn't an effective communicator. And it did so much for me as far as communication wise. And I realized that, wow, that I was stuck, before that. You know what I mean? And when I used to communicate with people, they would look at me like, because I would talk strictly in hood lingo, and I thought everyone understood that. I'm like, people look at me like, what are you trying to say? So I had to learn how to build that vocabulary and be more effective communicator. And that's the greatest thing I got from RTA. And I think in the movie, it shows that. It shows how ineffective we can be and how we become effective.
Mm-hmm.
One of the things that is so important, prison is designed to break a person down and dehumanize them. And, you take away a person's name and give him a number, you take away his clothes and give him a uniform, you take away the food he likes, you keep him away from his family. And the whole purpose of art is to give a person tools to rebuild who they are and to find out who they are. And one of the most difficult roles for any actor is to play it very close to yourself. That is really difficult. And every person in this program and these guys here and very in particular showed that they could find who they were and now present it to the world in a way that was open and proud. And it's just one of those beautiful transformations you can imagine.
Brent, you just kind of touched on something that I was wondering about, and that's the fact that at least in a couple of cases here, we've got with Divine I and Dino playing yourselves in the movie. And for Divine G, it was Coleman Domingo playing you. But what was it like playing yourself, and how difficult is it to be yourself while playing yourself? As someone who's never acted in a movie, I can only imagine that's got to be difficult.
Well, actually, it's not really me playing myself, not like as far as like just walking in and doing things I normally do. And just, it's like I have to go back and revisit a period in my life. And during that course, during that period, I witnessed a lot of behaviors, and I've experienced a lot of things that are incorporated into this character. It's not just me playing myself. It's me weaving in a lot of experiences that I know happen and how these things go, and a lot of behaviors of individuals that I've encountered during the 17 and a half years that I was incarcerated, and weaving that in a way that it was presentable to show an arc. It's a skill. It's a craft that we've been trained to do this. It's not like when people say that I play myself, it like kind of takes away from all those volunteers that came in to train me to do this. I've had training. We've had training from a lot of credible people. They were volunteers and they did it on their own time, but it does not take away from their credibility and their contribution to the craft. Like Grandmama, she had a theater troupe for 35 years.
Yeah.
How could we not say, how about Rosie that came in? How could we not say that we haven't been trained, that I just came in and played myself?
Tell them who Grandma is.
Huh?
Tell them who Grandma is.
Who don't know who Grandma is?
The audience.
Joanna Chan.
Oh, the audience. That's yes. Joanna Chan.
Joanna Chan. That's right.
I know.
Sister Joanna Chan is a Maryknoll nun who came in and volunteered with the program. She was the head of the Hong Kong repertory in Hong Kong. Came here, had her own theater company. She's a brilliant director and did so much for us.
Yeah.
And everyone loved
all of our volunteers, all of them, everybody.
Yeah,
you know what I mean?
Love them all.
How you gonna take away from Peter Barbieri?
Right.
Yep. Peter Barbieri, yeah.
How you can take away from that?
Right.
By saying I just did it myself.
Well, not only that, Divine I, but sorry for interrupting you, but when someone plays themselves, it's not the same thing because it's in unnatural circumstances.
Right.
In whole life, you're not walking around being filmed with a million people following you around. You know what I'm saying? So there's still an element of it to make it real. And like you said, you had to revisit that. You're a different person today than you were.
Exactly.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Rosie, the thing with me is, the hardest part for me, when there's growth that takes place and you're moving forward, sometimes it's a difficult journey going back to revisit that. And for me, it was difficult going back to that mindset of when that survival mode that you're in the institution, and the mentally, it's hard. It's difficult, especially when you walk away, you don't ever want to put that on again, that's like wearing a pair of earmuffs that you can't stand and have to put them on again, putting on those green uniforms and walking in the mess hall and talking. And, it's just a reminder of so many emotions that really, and then you're trying to keep the division clear of what you're doing, telling the story, without allowing those emotions to fog you, So it is a process. Yeah. It's definitely a process.
Yeah, I wondered if there was any kind of PTSD in this process for you guys.
All day, every day. But we're used to that.
That's why we developed those mechanisms. Like it's depicted in the movie. Like when you see the circle, when we say, "Yo, listen, let's find that favorite place." Everybody, close your eyes and find that favorite place. That right there is one of the mechanisms that we devised to survive the crash. After those 4 performances we get to put on, and then after the 4th one, back to prison. Lock in. The play is over. We back to prison. So we had to devise something so that, and we noticed that individuals going through some shit when they were going through those crashes. Like it was a depression period.
Heavy depression. That's no doubt.
My brothers was like not taking it well. Like coming down to the chapel days after the production is finished, bro. So dudes still coming to the chapel, bro.
Still coming there, hoping that
they want to mob, they want to clean up. It's already clean, bro. We did that already. So it was things that brothers was going through that we had to devise some type of mechanisms to counter the crash.
And for people who are watching, the chapel is the theater where they performed at Sing Sing, just to clarify that.
Yeah. And I myself, listen, after those productions, I was so depressed, man. It's almost like, even now when I think about it, it rekindles a certain type of feeling like, whoa, that was serious depression. Because you have to realize that for weeks and months, we were going down, we were rehearsing the brotherhood, the fellowship, the community, the escapism from all of the chaos and the madness of the cells and the yards and all that. And then finally, it's all over. So automatically, it's just like a massive just drop of something that, you really looked forward to, and this gave you life in a sense. So what we was doing after that, as a steering committee member, and Dino can testify to this fact, that we had to come up with immediate workshops that were designed to bring guys back together. Even though there was no production in motion, we still had those call out processes going where it was like either Monday, Tuesday, was whatever. We had those days, those slots available. So as a way of combating the depression that we knew was going to set in, because we as founder members, we've been through it over and over and over. And no matter how many times we did it, that depression kicked right in. Yeah, we would come down and we would debrief each other. It's literally debrief each other. And like Divine also said, we would have these techniques, these rituals, these sessions, these unique programs that we used to do where we would kind of diffuse that depression by allowing us to open up with each other and be vulnerable to each other and tell how we're feeling. And
exactly,
it was self-healing, and we found ways to self-heal ourselves, and it was working very effectively.
And a lot of times when we was on stage, we would forget that we were in Sing Sing prison. It was
we escaped it. We had it.
We leave it, and that's what caused the depression of coming back to reality, and realizing, oh wait, there's still bars here. Oh, we're not in Hollywood. We're not, on this. The reality just starts setting back in. And I'm going to be honest with you, in that process, a few of the participants, they lost themselves in the process. Yeah. Meaning that they became the character they played.
Oh, yeah, I remember.
Take the character and we had they would go in the yard weeks after
and
the
still
play
be the character.
They're still playing the character.
Yeah,
and we're like, wait a minute, what's going on? We realized that was
that'd be mental health. That's a mental health issue.
Of of backing people out of the character. You know, okay, it's over. It's over. You got to put it down now. You know what I mean? This is not something that you could, take with you like a coat. You know what I mean? But yeah, we had a few situations.
And the
like
craziest thing is that I had done some research on that you have actors that become so engrossed in creating a character.
Method acting.
And then they get stuck in the character. And we saw that actually happen before our eyes. And it was a bit disturbing because you're like, hey, bro, the production is kind of like over. Let's reel it in a little bit. The character is no longer you. He was literally stuck in character. It sounded almost funny, and at some point we laughed at it. But that's a serious, real phenomenon that people become so engrossed that they can't let it go.
Now. We can laugh at it now, but then it was like,
this is serious.
Is it serious? Is it, really?
Wow.
And we help reel them in with love and brotherhood and patience and working with them each other because we saw that he's really stuck. He's not playing. This guy's really going through a moment here.
One of the things that is something now, I'm going home at the end. For the last 3 weeks or so of rehearsals, I would actually move up to Ossining and be in the prison from 9 in the morning till 9 at night. And when the production was over, I went home, and I remember calling Dino one time and going, Dino, I don't know what's going on. I feel so lonely. I'm home. I'm with my wife. I feel weird. And Dino said, when you're inside, you're with other people that are going through the same thing, and you understand the same. You're all in the midst of this together, and then you can talk about it at any point, and they understand what you're experiencing. And man, that really helped me, Dino. I'll tell you.
Guys, after listening to everything that's just been shared over these last few minutes, a thought just came to mind and a question that I just have to ask. And after everything you've described and everything you went through, when this film was done and you had the chance to sit there and watch the completed project for the first time, can you describe what that felt like? Because I'd love to hear each of your thoughts on that.
Me personally, when I first saw it and several times afterwards, I was in tears. I was literally, I had tears of joy. It was tears of amazement. I was amazed. I was almost like, almost couldn't believe that we had our story actually on film, and it was a story that was 100% accurate. I couldn't have asked for a better representation of what we went through. It was like a dream come true. And me, of course, having a prominent actor such as Coleman Domingo, who did a spectacular job of portraying me and to hit his marks. Even to this day, every time I see this movie, and as an executive producer, I saw this movie at least 100 times. I've seen all the cuts. I've seen all the variations. And just 2 weeks ago, I went and purchased the ticket and went and sat in the movie and just watched the movie just as a regular guy and just sat in the back of the theater. And I was ear hustling to see how people were responding. And when I was walking out of the theater, people were like, oh my God, this is really a good movie. And several people were saying that. But I say that to say that it's a blessing. And I think what we are experiencing, and this is what I call the boomerang effect. I think that because we approach this whole RTA from the heart with the whole passion of helping and coming up with a way to empower others and to make sure that because my mission personally was that when people walked out of prison, I wanted to find a way to make sure that when they walked out, they didn't come back. Because I was like a stickler, and I used to be on brothers about when I see them come back. A lot of brothers didn't want to see me because I would approach them like, what happened? And I would want to find out, like, what happened? Here it is. I'm stuck in prison for serving 25 years of life for a crime I didn't commit, found the evidence of my innocence, and couldn't get out. So it behooved me that an individual can get out and come right back. So RTA was that way of fighting against that recidivism level. And as I noted earlier, we have a 3% recidivism level. So for me, watching the movie, it was the best moment of my life, man.
Nice.
One of the best.
Yeah, for me, man, the first time I saw the movie, man, it was like I mean, in its completion,
Yeah.
it was amazing because it was a testament to the artistry and the director. Because as an actor, I only see my role, I only see my part, and in relation to, I don't have the whole thing in view. So it gave me appreciation for the director, the way he had the whole thing mapped out. Because when I first saw it, I got to see parts that I wasn't privy to. I never saw it rehearsed. I never seen it, you know what I mean? Not parts that I'm in. I appreciated my brothers. I appreciated their contribution, the honesty in their performances, and how relatable it was, and how honest and true that, and right on point, that everybody played their parts honestly and objectively, and you know what I'm saying, in a way that we wanted to push this positive narrative. What our objective was, at least mine, was to shine a light, cast a light on a portion of prison population that's rarely ever talked about. Anytime we see prison movies, we see violence or corruption, either violence on a part of the prisoners, or corruption on a part of the prison guards. This is the only narratives, and it seems like those are the only people that exist in prison. And in this movie, we shined a light on a portion on a portion of population that exists in every prison. The people that want to make themselves better, that genuinely want to take this time to become productive members of society. They took the time to rehabilitate themselves. We want to shine a light on those people, because we're not saying that the violence and the corruption don't exist. We're not saying that. That's not what we're saying. What we're saying is that that's not all there is in prison. That's not all. That's not all there is in any population of people, whether in prison or not. There's other portions of society that we can shine a light on that really want to make a difference. And by shining a light on these portions of society, whether in prison or not, we open up avenues for these portions to connect, for these populations to connect. And that's how we grow. That's how we take over the world.
For me, I was blown away. I had tears of joy, and I was just blown away, because when you know the process, when it goes in the cutting room and they start cutting it, it don't always end up, the way you want it to end up.
Don't end up with the sentences, right?
And the thing is that it's like he left everything in. And it captured our humanity. It captured all of us. And it was like, wow. And I said to myself, what are the odds that it catches all of us on the best side? You know what I mean? And everyone performed to their peak. And he captured it all. And it didn't all get cut. You know what I mean? So
there was some cuts, believe me.
No, there was some cuts. But I said, but the best parts were not cut.
It has to be.
The stuff that we were proud of, you know what I mean, was not cut.
It was cut perfectly. Put it this way,
4-hour movie we cut now.
Perfect cuts. Perfect.
To brag a little bit about these guys.
And the way it came together was just amazing.
Oh, Brett.
Well, to brag about these guys a little bit, if people know about filmmaking, 10, 15, 20 takes of a scene is very normal. About 80% of this film was shot in one take, because everything was so real, and these guys were so beautiful and open and prepared that their artistry shone through, and they didn't need to take multiple takes of everything, which is really beautiful. And my seeing it, every time I watch the movie, I'm just in awe as I see men that I know there on the screen bringing a message to America that is so hopeful and so brings such a message of change for the millions of people who are incarcerated and people that are struggling with life. And I just feel it's tremendous. And Paul Raci plays me in the film. And you asked what it was like to have someone play you. I was nervous before I found out it was him, because I thought if they put some goober in there, it's going to be really embarrassing and horrible. But I heard they're going to cast Paul Raci, and I knew him from The Sound of Metal, and I loved him there. And we got acquainted, and I respect that man so much. He's one of the true artists and a humble human being, and there's nothing I would change about his portrayal. I think Divine G feels the same thing about Coleman. It's just like, I'm so proud.
Well, I want to jump in here for a second, guys, because I did have the honor of seeing the movie. Now, it's not playing mainstream yet. I hope that they change that, because I want my family to see it. It's not in mainstream theaters around where I live yet, but I keep looking for it every week. But when I saw the film, as a former RTA member, or just so our audience knows, I was a volunteer in this program, and it changed my life. It made me a better, more compassionate person, that I had the honor to work with all of these men. And it was just I got more than I gave, let me put it that way, from volunteering with this program. And when I watched the film, I want to first shout out to all of you and all of the other RTA members who, aren't in the show today. You guys were so amazing. You were so real. You were so raw. Like Brent, you and all the other directors should be really proud, and guys, you should be really proud, because gosh, you're really good actors.
Yeah.
And it's not easy, like I said before, to bring that authenticity to the camera. It's not always easy. And you guys did it brilliantly. And there were so many poignant moments. Like Brent, when he did the exercise, when Paul did the exercise with you, having the guys go to that place. I remember one night talking to you on the train, and you were saying, yeah, I went in for a workshop, and we were just doing some fun exercises and whatnot. And I thought, I wonder what kind of exercises he's doing. And, to see that on the film.
Yeah.
And to see how important it was for you all, gentlemen, to have that escape was really healing and so monumental. All of you had these great scenes, and Dino, your monologue, where you talk about that, you get to have this moment, to be human, that you don't normally get to have. I don't remember the exact quote about it, but it was really powerful. And, Divine Eye, you had so many moments, and your chemistry with Coleman was incredible. I know I'm going on and on here, but I just have to kind of give you guys all props, because it was incredible.
Thank you
We
so
give
much.
you
Thank
props.
you.
Thank you.
Yeah, it's a part of you and everything we do.
That's right. You were part of this family, 100%. RTA family.
This is one of the only prison theater programs in the country that has female actresses come in. And I see that as crucial. And Rosie, your effect and the effect of other women that came in as actors was so tremendous and made for so much respect. It's reflected in the film. I'll let people see it for themselves, but that is the case. And our gratitude to you is huge.
Well, thanks for saying that, Brent. But, I remember when Brent first reached out to me, guys, about being in the production. And I met with him at Grand Central Station to talk about it. And Catherine was there too. And you would have thought I was coming into a kindergarten class. He was like, oh, the men are amazing. Oh, they're so wonderful. And he was going on and on. And he said, I want to assure you that it's safe for you to go in there. He said, you wouldn't be safer. You couldn't be any safer. They will protect you. This program is so important to them. And it was true. When I got in there, I could see that you know, there was so much love. But the funniest thing was the first night I was in there, we did the production of Mice and Men. That's the production I was in. And we had to block the scene where Lenny kills Curly's wife by accident.
Oh,
And
yeah,
I
yeah.
screamed when, you know, he's supposed to grab my hair. So I screamed.
Yeah. Oh my
I
God.
don't know if you guys remember.
I remember that.
I
I
remember.
remember.
You all jumped back. And I looked at Brent and I said, and I was like, Brent, what's the matter? And Spider said, "Oh, we don't want to end up in the box."
Misinterpret that very quickly.
But as I remember it, no CO ever showed up.
That's what I was going to
No,
say. They
nobody-
were back in the window and they didn't even give it a second thought because they knew what was happening.
Yeah,
Yeah, we have
that
a
was
lot of
crazy.
memorable moments. Beautiful.
That was a memorable moment for sure.
That was definitely one of them.
Yeah, they were beautiful times.
For folks who are going to go see this movie, and like Rosie said, we're looking forward to when this is more available for more people to go see it. What is it that you would like folks to walk away with after they've seen this movie?
Well, I personally would like to see people walk away with a deeper understanding of the complex and the real deep set reality and humanity and the healing and the brotherhood that you can find in prison. That despite the fact that prison exemplifies an environment of despair, hopelessness, they strip you of your humanity, they tear you down to pieces. But there's also an element in society that builds up the humanity, it builds up healing, it builds up brotherhood. Because in the movie, you see that there's even humor, because humor is a powerful source of healing. I just want people to walk away knowing that this is one of the humanistic, healing, humorous movies that's out. And we want people to understand that there are human beings in prison, period. They're there.
To piggyback on that, I would basically say that, you know, for people to understand, it's two messages here. It's a message for people that are not in prison and have these preconceived notions of what a prisoner is. The message to you is that maybe your preconceived notions might not be accurate based on inaccurate information, because maybe you might need to get in proximity of some prisoners in order to make that specific judgment. So understand that people behind bars, people in prison are people, human beings. And for the brothers that's behind the wall and the sisters that's behind the wall that find themselves being the subject of being considered less than human because you're a prisoner, you need to understand that, you know, we're not waiting for the Department of Corrections to rehabilitate us anymore. We're going to rehabilitate ourselves. We're going to lift each other up. You know what I'm saying? One of the things that I learned about Sing, right? The word derives from sink, a native word, right? It means stone upon stone.
Stone upon stone, right?
Right. And that's what we are. Stone upon stone, holding each other up. So we're not waiting for nobody to hold us up. We're going to get each other up. That's the message I want, brothers. The conscious part of the population that's willing to invest in themselves. This is the message. We're going to do it for ourselves.
Brent, you look like a proud papa. Go ahead, weigh in.
I do. I am. I want this to motivate men in prisons to know what they can do and to demand of administrations, of community groups and others, have them inspired to begin programs like this across the country, because that is going to revolutionize things. As Divine said earlier, in the United States, 60% of people released from prison are back in prison within 3 years. And people that in this program, under 3% ever return to prison. It's a hugely successful thing. So I want this to inspire people to know that they can have programs like this in every prison across the country and can be supported by the communities outside and also run by the men inside.
I think the most important thing I want people to walk away with is knowing that humanity exists hope exists even in the most dimmest places, in the most violent places, where you can find a sense of peace. And because there's people in society that's going through it, just like someone that's sitting in a cell, that's physical incarceration. Some people in society
Mentally incarcerated, spiritually incarcerated,
and they don't even realize it. And there's hope, and we just cannot forget the power of the human spirit, the resilience that's within all of us, the light, the flicker in the shadows.
So eloquent. Thank you all for sharing that. And two quick things before we wrap things up. Very briefly, what was the reaction of the current RTA members when you screened in Sing Sing? If one of you would like to take that.
And they had a great time. They really connected, the brothers. Let me tell you a little story. When we got there, one of the sergeants told me, he specifically said to me that no one would remember me because I've been going from prison too long, so don't expect anyone to remember you.
Oh, yeah.
Fooled him. That's amazing. It seems like, the brothers, it seems like according to your works, according to who you are, how you represent, how you carry yourself, your name never dies.
That's right.
It's how we live forever. You know what I mean? It gets passed down. With each of us that was in that prison at that time, we've been known for good works, producing good work throughout the prison. And that didn't die. Whether you knew me, whether you was here when I was here or not, you reap some benefit from the work I've done.
Well, that's
and that's
great.
a good thing.
Yeah,
That's a good
infamously
thing
good.
when it's good work.
That's right.
And that's how it go, man. So yeah, man, that's one of the things I felt, and I'm sure that Dino felt the same thing.
Yeah, I've been going longer than you, and there was people that knew me, knew who I was, knew my name.
Right.
They saw pictures of us. It's like when you pass stories down, like when you tell stories, family stories of the institution, of when programs started, and this one, this and that, and that. People are telling the story. They're passing the history down. So it's a
from an
culture
oral
that's ongoing.
standpoint. Even
Right.
when I was there was two individuals that he kept waving at me, trying to get my attention. I didn't want to, in fact, someone had to tap me on the shoulder. Yo, he's talking to you. And I looked, and it was an individual that I remember. He was like, Divine G. I was like, oh, Sweat, you sound
Yeah.
I'm still here.
Well, it sounds to me like that the movie is a source of inspiration, not only for the RTA members that are still incarcerated, but for all of the population to know that they can better themselves. There is hope, there is help, and there is humanity. So that is a gift that you all have left behind for them. And on a last note, I want to say that I know that the movie has gotten a lot of critical acclaim. A24 has done a great job of promoting the film and distributing it, and we wish you all the best, because there's been a little bit of Oscar buzz.
Yeah,
A lot of Oscar buzz.
So I hope that the film does well. Divine Eye, oh my God, that would be incredible. It would be incredible. You would have my vote. So
it's a win for all of us.
oh my
Right.
God, it
That's
would.
what I always
Exactly.
say. If one of us win, we all win. That's my motto. That's what I praise.
Bill, anything you want to add?
No, I just appreciate everything that you guys have shared. And just like we talked about in terms of everything in the movie and how real and genuine and raw and everything was, you were equally as authentic and genuine in this conversation. And I truly appreciate it. And I'm sure that our viewers will as well. So thank you for that. And Dino, I just want to touch on one thing real quick. You mentioned earlier about how this helped you with communication. And I can say that I think one of the biggest areas we can all benefit from is in becoming better and more effective communicators. So for you to talk about that, I've seen some very smart people that aren't very good communicators in all walks of life,
Yes,
the corporate world,
Absolutely.
and all different places. So communication is key, and I'm really glad that you raised that point and were willing to share that. Thank you for that.
Thank
Yeah,
you.
so fact.
Guys, we thank you from the bottom of our hearts for sharing this film, this journey, and yourselves with us. And, you know, personally, I love you all. And
you know we love you, Rosie.
We love you right back,
Anytime
Rosie.
you
Hey,
call us,
much
we're
love,
coming.
Rosie.
Thank you.
Hey, family all the way. No, you always so
Absolutely.
RTA.
And nice to meet you, Bill.
Same
Nice
here.
to meet
Thank you.
Absolutely.
Okay.
And
Yeah,
folks,
nice.
when you get the chance, when it comes in your area, please do yourself a favor and go see Sing Sing. It will
Yeah,
change.
come check us out.
Yeah.
Thank you for tuning in, and we'll see you next week.
To die, to sleep, to dream.
This is a clemency hearing for your conviction, 25 to life. Since you've been in custody, you've been involved in a theater program.
Gentlemen, let's go. It's been a program that was established to help people get more in touch with their feelings and truly get some rehabilitation.
I am Gladiator Goliath. I am Spartacus.
I'm Prince Hamlet of Denmark.
And it's turned into something of, I don't know, wonderful.
What part do you play?
From time to time I do act, like we all do.
So are you acting at all during this interview?
We here to become human again and enjoy the things that is not in our reality.
I think you guys are becoming real with each other, vulnerable.
Listen, I already know what you're doing, know who you are, what you about, bro.
What?
You don't get to tell me what I need in prison. You don't get to do that. And don't bring me in those dark corners no more.
The world expects brothers like you and I to walk in with our heads held down. Nah, what you gotta walk in like a king. Everything is yours.
I'm divine now.
Yeah.
This is my theater.
Now give him some love, give him some love.
Go to your most perfect spot. Do you hear anything? Are you with somebody? Are you outside? Hold that feeling.
You gotta admit that I murdered that Hamlet, bro. Shakespeare is in his grave right now. He rolled over.
You did your thing, beloved.
This week's episode has been brought to you by Doherty & Company Insurance Services for all your business and personal insurance needs. Our friends at Tennis Addiction in Exton, PA. And the Malin Agency, where exceeding expectations is how they do business.